Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. It's Kim here, and today is supposed to be my follow-up Friday, even though it's follow-up Saturday, and I'll just go briefly and tell you what happened yesterday. So I was all set to come downstairs and do my video. I had had my morning coffee, I did the dishes, I did a couple of little things on the internet, and it was about 10 minutes to 11, and my husband phoned me and he said, I was able to get an appointment for our cat to go see the vet. And we had sort of hoped it would be like next Tuesday, but apparently the vet said no, she was booked up for the next couple of weeks. But, and I'm sure you've heard this a million times, she said, but if you can make it here in an hour by 12 o'clock, I can take you today. It is 10 to 11 in the morning. Sussex is 30 minutes away. I had to shower, find the cat cage, take the dog for a quick walk so I could leave him in the house. Thank goodness he pooped. And then find the cat because, you know, once you take the cage out, everybody scrambles because they know somebody's going somewhere and nobody wants to go. So I had to stuff him into the car. And so by this time, you know, I only had better than 30 minutes because even though it was 40 minutes by the time it registered what I had to do, I still had to jump in the shower. I just scrambled and went. I got there at 12:01. Halfway through getting there, I was about maybe 15 minutes on the road, and Ringo pooped this enormous poop in the car, in the cage, and I had to stop on the side of the road and pick up little poop nuggets. Luckily we had disinfectant wipes in the car because it smelled so bad. There was no way I could make it all the way there, and the cage was too small. I was worried he was going to sit on it and have fur on him, and so I had to stop and do that. So by the time I actually got to the appointment, I was wasted, totally wasted. And so, you know, it wasn't anything too major. He is back on some medications. He has a bit of a bladder problem, but it's controllable. And so he's back on medications starting last night, and that'll go for a week. But since I was out and about in Sussex, I figured I'm going shopping. And, you know, that's my payback for having to run around like this and for scooping poop in the car. So that is the reason why I didn't get my follow-up Friday done. So I'm following up on Saturday and telling you why. Sorry to put you through that, but that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. So I have a bunch of things to talk about in this follow-up, not just the projects I worked on, but a few other things. So I hope you can bear with me through all of this stuff. So these are the pieces that I actually finished doing when I was doing that little thing on my messy desk. And as much as I enjoyed and I'm happy with the pieces I got made, I realize it's not my thing to do it on the fly like that. It's not that I can't work on the fly, but I just, I know that I'm a little bit more quiet, and, you know, to try and keep you engaged, I worry that I might not be coming across correctly. And I don't feel that that is something you really need to see. So I would much rather on, you know, maybe on follow-up Friday, I can show you the stuff I made cleaning off my desk, unless I have something specific to show you that I can sort of tutorial it at the same time. And one of those things, like I have these, I had shown you all these photos of different artist trading cards I had made, and I had kept a file of all the cards I had made, and I finally decided to not do that anymore. So I do have, which I came up with last night, I do have a plan to use all these. So that will be a tutorial on my messy desk that I will show you. So you're getting the tutorial value out of it, as well as seeing the stuff that I'm taking off my desk. So that I may film that video next after this one, not sure. But I'm going to do my best to get it done. If not today, it'll be tomorrow, Sunday. So one way or another, that will be my messy desk videos, not this flying by the seat of my pants. I don't think that works as a video and in 30 minutes. Maybe as a whole day video, but I think I would lose you well before that. And then the upload for that would just be horrible. So that's just giving you that little bit of information. So these were the things I made, and I showed you this booklet, and I put in some pages in the booklet. So I used just a piece of scrapbook paper, that partial sheet of that children's notebook. I used one of those green book pages that had printout of roses on it. The brown paper bag, and when you flip it over, you can see Value Village, which is one of our local thrift shops. So I will probably do something over top of that. And then a piece of graph paper I used. And I just folded them in half, stitched it down the middle, just with the basic sewing stitch. And so that's the little booklet right there. So I got this now off my desk. It has a belly band with a tag that was in it. And I got this off my desk. This unfolds out. And it's done. It's going in my ephemera pile. It might be something that gets tucked into a journal, or it may be something I send out in Happy Mail. But one way or another, it is done and off my desk. So the next one I showed you, I didn't have to do anything to this. I had done folded the piece of scrapbook paper in half, did some inking on it, added the image, one of the images from my artist trading card pile, and a little label. I will leave it like this. I added the oh, I hope I'm in camera. I added I'm going to move the camera over just a little bit here so I can keep a better watch. Okay, and I added a little bit of that cheesecloth underneath just to create a little bit of shabbiness there. I don't know how much of it will stay on here, but it is glued down underneath, so hopefully some of it will stay on. But this is just going to sit like this as a little journaling card that I can tuck into something. I will do more embellishing on some of these pieces, but I don't want to do it until I'm actually going to use it. One, it's a waste of time until I put it in a book, and two, it's a waste of whatever I'm going to cut up and put into to it until I actually use it. So it will sit here. Another thing too that I will do with some of these pieces is I will offer, probably in the next week or two, I will be offering some de-stash packs where there'll be 5 or 6 different items in there, and it'll be de-stashing off my desk, and those will be offered for sale through my website, but I will do a post on that specifically. So then this was that other little piece of folded cardstock. All I did was I added a label on the front, and I got rid of that piece of red paper that was sitting on the desk, and just made I stitched it in, made a little, little notebook out of it. Nothing really much to it. I could round corner the edges, but on this one I kind of like the rectangular shape, so I'll leave it like that. And then this was the I had two. I don't know how. I think it went this way. 2 really long collage pieces, and I'm thinking that I probably had done originally just a plain masterboard, cut it up, and then did these on top, but I had left them sitting like this, so I realized it's too big, too wide, and too thick for a belly band, too big for a tag, so I just chopped them in half, and then I took them to my sewing machine and just did a very basic it's a straight stitch, but willy-nilly. And this way, what I like about this stitch, and I always forget to use this, I used to use just sew my cards with this stitch years ago, and then I ended up doing zigzag, and I fell in love with it, and so everything got zigzagged after that. So I kind of forgot about doing this crazy stitching, and I really like it because you don't have to be perfect, and nobody can judge you because it's meant to be crooked. And I know you can't really see a whole lot of it on that side, but you can see it on this side. So I usually do here. What's the best way to take that now? Go a little bit further down. I usually do 2 rounds, so that if you have one piece that comes up too high and then too low, you can go back and backtrack and go over it the other way, and it looks like you planned it like that. So give it a shot if ever you're doing some stitching. Just try doing your lazy, crazy, messy stitching, which is what I like. And I haven't done it for a while, so it was a good reminder again to get back into it. And so it's my new flavor of the month. So you'll see a lot of this type of stitching for a while. So on the back is just bits and pieces of plain paper to use as a journal card and to write on. So these will again sit in the pile. I liked how they matched this, so I think they'll go somewhere together. I think I'll pin them all together and use them in the future in one of my journals. So here's one that the other one that I cut in sort of not quite in half, and I turned the one piece into a tag and then a matching journaling card. So these again will also be embellished a little further. These ones I just did a decorative stitch on it, sort of like a zigzag, but not quite. And you can see it better on the other side. But yeah, I'm back to liking the messy stitching better. So, and I have done a combination of both, but it just takes too much time, and I like to just get through them quickly. So I think the straight stitching is where I'm going to go back to for a while. So now this one you hadn't seen because I had actually started it beforehand using that dust jacket that I was talking about, and it was the green years. And in this case, I had just recovered another postcard that was cracked, that I didn't like how it looked, and then just used that dust jacket as the main background. I like the word "the," and I lost the green words. So in this case, this artist trading card that I added on here had the word desire, and I left the novel by, and I just thought, so it's the desire novel by. So it added some interest on the card. On the back side of this one, I left the postcard part of it because it had lots of interesting information, and it was interesting and old, but I added a little piece of that same dust jacket. I hope you can see that. And I just attached it with another piece of fabric so that you could write on it. And, you know, again, just adding some interest. This is very fragile paper, so I don't know how long it'll hold up. We will see. But it's definitely, you know, just a play, just to try and see how I liked it. And I like this look. And then the original information of the postcard is still on there. There wasn't a stamp, so I just had some washi tape and just wrapped it around to make it look like a stamp. But I like how this card turned out. And so I had used the rest of the dust jacket on this tabbed index card that I had shown you. Again, doing that lazy, messy stitch. I love how it's turning out. And so this was part of the introduction to the book and to the author that I again used on the back of this, along with that green dyed paper book page. And then since I had done this one, I had sort of done it already, wasn't quite finished it, I decided to make them match together. So I used the same fabrics, the same trims, so I can incorporate that together and then possibly put this in the same journal together. So that was what I made, and then I'm still stuck on this one piece. I have changed it out so many times that I'm not quite sure yet what I'm doing with it. I've torn up that piece of that I had originally had, that book page. I think the rest of it is all here still. Yeah. So I had torn it up. I'm not sure I like it, not sure what I'm doing. So I'll follow up with this one a little bit later. But this was covering a postcard that was in really rough shape. On the back side, I covered up the writing itself. I left part of the postcard to show you that it was a postcard, but I will probably embellish on this side as well using the same things that are on here. But it, like I said, I just got stuck on that one. I said, okay, going back in the pile. But now it's on this side of my desk. But in doing all this, I reminded myself, because I had a couple of little pieces of index card, which is on the other, written on the other side here. But I reminded myself, because I was going to go round corner these, and I thought, you know, I've got decorative punches I don't use. I've totally forgotten about them. So just a reminder that, you know, this is now a little tag that can go in a book, or I can make a hole and dangle it from somewhere. It's just a little leftover piece of index card. And then I just cut off the little nub corners on the ends. and the 2 corner punches, and it's now a cute little tag. So just a reminder that if you've got these tools sitting in your drawers, bring them out once in a while and do a whole bunch of these. You know, just do them just to get some paper off your desk, which is what I'm going to do later today too, because this is going on the pile now on that side to remind me to do this. And I'm just going to make a whole bunch of these. That's the easiest way to use up leftover bits and pieces of paper. And so that's where this came from, and why I wanted to tell you about that. So those are done. And that's it for the things I had to follow up on as far as what I was working with on my desk. So I got a few things done. It wasn't a total loss, but it just made me realize that that's not the type of video I want to do. I would much rather do something a little bit more structured where I actually show you what I'm doing, and then I can stop and start the video, finish the next step, and go on and show you something completely finished by the time the video is done. So now I want to talk, like I have a long list here. So now I want to talk about this piece right here. This was the Thrifty Thursday, one of the items I had picked up at a thrift shop, and I said I was going to turn it into a journal. I haven't done that yet, but I had shown you that little flappy thing, and I've had several people tell me, because I said, I don't know if it's to keep the book from touching. Maybe it holds whatever. I wasn't sure about it. And, and so many of you said, Kim, it's a pen holder. Yeah. You know, that flew right over my head. You've heard me say that. I just went blank. And I even said to somebody, it's like, you know, missing out and not seeing the trees for the forest, right? And so I totally blanked out, and I laughed so hard about it after. It's like, well, of course it's a pen holder, but you know, I held it in my hand and I just couldn't see it. You know how you just, I don't know why, it was like, okay, is it a tab? Is it to keep the book from touching? No, it's a pen holder. So I just want to clarify for those of you who saw the video and did comment and didn't comment, thank you either way. And yeah, it was just a moment. But I still will turn this into a journal. I just had to come back because of this stupid little thing. But that's where I was at with that. And then the next thing in my thrifty video is I have had so many comments about this wrapping paper, both on and off of YouTube, and how some of you liked this color, some of you didn't like this color. Some of you said you'd like this one, but you hated this one. Some of you said, oh, the red is my favorite. And it went on and on. People liked the big, huge flowers. People said, oh, yuck, that is so dated, those big, huge flowers. Some, like this one was one I didn't like at all. And I didn't like this one either. These are both tissue. This one is, the middle one is wrapping paper. The red is tissue, and the last one is wrapping paper. So these were the 5 that caused such a stir on my YouTube channel, as well as privately. And so I've made a decision. I'm keeping a list, and all of you that said yay or nay about the paper, and please do say yay or nay in this video too, because I'm keeping a list, and if I find that I'm sending you something, you're getting something with this paper, one way or another. And I've also had a couple of comments on my messy desk where people were saying, you know, that you should put it all into a box. I think that came from Barbara. And Lauren said, well, we should do a desktop swap. And again, I'm saying be careful what you wish for, because I could easily, with what's across this desk, I could easily fill 5 boxes and do a random mail out. So we can have some fun with this. But if I do mail stuff like this out to you, along with stuff off my desk, you may be asked to complete a project with it. So be careful what you wish for. That's all I'm saying. I'm making notes. So then, like I said, I have a lot of things to talk about here. I want to talk about the book project that we're going to be starting. Now, I've got a few books here to show you. Is that the right one? Yes. Okay, so I have bought 3 books here so far. I've got a couple more that I'm going to talk about. This one was The World of Antiques. It's not a huge book. It's maybe about 3/4 of an inch at best, more like 1/2 inch. No, maybe 3/4. Let's just quickly measure. Yeah, it's about 3/4 of an inch. And so now in this one, I have the dust jacket, which if your book has a dust jacket, do keep it because we will use it as well. If it doesn't have it, don't worry. It's not going to be crucial to your making your book. This one has a lot of pictures, so there'll be lots of things that I can take out of here. And then I was planning to do 3 of them online at the same time. So this one is also, it's about an inch, no, 3/4 of an inch. This one is on guns at sea. So some of the images, there's a lot of images that I won't use, but there are some I will use. It just depends on the book that you find. I really like this book. I wanted to do something about the sea for a long time. And then the third one down here, now this one didn't have a dust, it had a dust jacket, but it was so in disrepair, I couldn't even use it for scraps. Like, it was just deteriorating as I picked it up. This third book was the Victorian embroidery, and I loved the end pages in this. There's some personal writing in here, but there are pictures in here that I would use in the journal, and there are fussy cuts that would come out of here. So there's a lot of good material to use, and a lot of material that I can use to for pages and for making ephemera. So that's the 3 books that I had so far. And then I went and bought 2 more. Now, in making this journal coming up, I'm saying that if you have a book like this, like an illustrated book, whatever size you want, everybody's going to be different. So I'm just giving you basic guidelines of how I'm doing mine, with the idea that you'll follow and make yours, and then make it more to suit what you're working on. You may not want a book of war at sea, just as much as the next person may not want Victorian embroidery. But I went to the thrift shop because I was shopping yesterday. And so I found this Victorian Crafts Revived, and I'm pretty sure at one time or another I had this book in my collection. And I looked at it differently this time. One, because, let's just look, like, some of the pages are full-size images that we may just use in the book. And then some of them, like, this is not really anything that's going to make a big deal in the book. But the backside, and the backside's kind of plain. It's one of those things that it's personal preference as to what you use and don't use. And you'll see my method as we go along. I'm just trying to find some, like, this is a very pretty picture. So depending on what I want to do with this Victorian crafts, like if I take the jacket off, it's a burgundy colored book. So this goes very nicely in there. I just have to think a little bit more of what my theme or finished result is that I want the book to be about. So some images are very pretty to use. Some of them are kind of boring. Hopefully I can find some here that are, see, these are all mostly full-size pages, but then there's this picture here that it's a nice small spot element type of page. This one would make a really nice background paper. So these are things that I'm going to be showing you and doing on the day, but this is a beautiful page to leave in the book. And these are going to be things that I show you when we start taking these books apart. But so this was another book that I picked up. I'm just doing this in case you were trying to figure out what kind of book to do. Now this one, again, I'm pretty sure at one time or another I had this in my collection, but I gave up a lot of my books when I moved. This one's called A Passion for Ribbonry. And this one, the cover still has that design on it, which would be fun to play on as part of the journal itself. Dust jacket is fine. Inside end pages are fine. And this has a lot of spot images. And this one might be a little harder for me to take apart, but I will. A lot of little pictures here, so these are a lot of things that can be used in the book. So again, just showing you different types of books. Now, I'm going to be showing you two different methods for using a hardcover book, one where we extract the pages and one where we leave the pages intact. We're going to be using the entire book. Every single page gets used one way or another, and I'm holding you to it as well. You have to do it. Now, some of you are going to have books that are all pictures, and you will pick and choose which ones stay as pages in the book. You will pick and choose which ones you cut up for ephemera, and then you may have to enhance your book with additional papers. You know, your coffee dyed papers, your ledger papers, you know, any kind of junk paper that you get in the mail. These are all things that you may need to use to enhance your book. And then, you know, same with the ephemera and the decorating afterwards. You're still going to have to probably add stuff. There's probably not going to be a full amount of material for any particular book. And then, you know, in my case, I've got 5 books here. I've already recognized that some of them can cross over from one to the other. But I will show you separately with 1 or 2 books in the videos, and then I will show you how everything is split up with the other books afterwards. So part 1 will start on January 16th, Monday. I will try to have another reminder up between now and then. And the part 1 will be dissecting your book and getting it ready to make your pages, getting it all cut up for what's going to be ephemera, and just a few other little basic things. So for doing that part, you're going to need your scissors, your ruler, you know, maybe you need a cutting board, your basic glues, whatever you're using for gluing. Not necessarily that we'll be gluing much on that first day. You're going to need an X-Acto knife for cutting things out. And again, I will put at the beginning of the next video, and probably within a reminder beforehand, I will put a list of the things that you need. But these are basic things that you probably have close by you anyway in your room. So the book tutorial is going to start Monday, January 16th. So any of you that want to participate with me, please have a book ready and have your basic supplies ready so that you can get started and get down and get dirty. So that's that information. So now the next, I'm just going to leave this on here for decoration. Kind of look, although you know what? I like this, that you can see my empty space here. So I've got a list here, so I'm trying to do all this stuff in order here. So the next thing I want to talk about is if you live in New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, PEI, Newfoundland, I'm starting a new Facebook group just for people that are sort of in the area. And the reason for that is I don't even know how to say this. I am not leaving the market. I'm still going to be working at the market, even though I thought I was going to quit. But I had handed in my notice. I said, that's it. I'm done at the end of December. And I told them, you know, I really have to focus and concentrate on my art, on my creativeness. I have to go. And I said, it's not you, it's me. It's, you know, I'm not going to not ever come in. And if ever you're in a bind and you need somebody to just come in for a couple of hours to help you out, I said, you can call me anytime. You know, I'm happy to do that. And so he, unbeknownst to me, he went and talked to his 2 sons who own a business, and they are eventually going to be taking over the market, and he wants to retire. So he went and talked to them. What should I do? What should I do? And he finally came back with an offer that was, it was a pretty good offer. I'm happy with it. So I'm going to stay at the market a little longer, and I'm adding a new component. And the new component is that I'm going to be teaching some junk journal classes. And so my time at the market will then include the creative outlet that I need for myself, and still allow me to do the market. I'm probably going to focus more on the creative side as opposed to going and getting product. Although, you know, when I'm out thrifting, if I see things, you know, I will find them and purchase them from my market booth. But I will probably focus a little bit more on handmade, artisan made, and maybe supplies. So my booths will be evolving. And in the process, you know, we talked about me having classes, and so it's good to go. And I will probably be starting some classes there very, very soon. I will announce it on Facebook in my area, and Facebook, I may announce it online as well. Only because if you live in any of these provinces that are close by, and I know Newfoundland isn't close by, but you know, whenever you come to the mainland, you pretty much have to go through Nova Scotia and New Brunswick anyway once you're here. So if anybody from, and I don't want to leave anybody in Newfoundland out, because you know, if you want to come and hang out with me, that's great. I would love it. But if you want to hang out with me online, that is the group that I'm starting. It's for the Maritime provinces, and so if any of you that follow me on YouTube, if you want to friend me personally on Facebook and send me a message saying that you'd like to be invited to that group when I open it, and you will be invited. Now, it will be a combination of my YouTube followers that are in the area, because I've already met a couple of you, and I've also I'm waiting to meet Jennifer. Jennifer, we still have a possibility for a date, and so I want to include all of you in there, because you may know some of the people that I'm going to be working with in my classes. Maybe you might come in and take a class, or come in for a guest class. So these are all things that I'm working on that is local and in person. And then, you know, with the possibilities of having some type of crops and meats. And the reason I'm doing that is my Manitoba girls, they all, you know, I miss them so much, and I miss that interaction, and I miss that creativity and sharing, and just fun and laughs. And so I'm hoping that having a group in New Brunswick, we can then do some competitions and some swaps and some meetups and stuff with the other girls in Manitoba, because they're going to come and visit me eventually. So I just thought this would be a perfect way to get started. And again, it brings out the creative outlet for me that I so desperately need and so desperately miss with those girls. So if you are in the Sussex area and you already watch my videos, then maybe you might want to contact me to join my classes. But if not, if you want to contact me and friend me and join the group, at least then, like I said, you can be participating in some of the stuff. We will do some chatting and online stuff together as a group. And so, yes, please contact me either way. And the group will probably start in another week or two. And then anybody who's contacted me, I will automatically invite you, and we'll get the group started. It will be a private group. So in having said that, I have had people ask me about sort of a Q&A or craft and chat kind of thing. I would like to consider opening that up through my Facebook group called Crafting with Eyes Wide Open. I haven't really, for me with Facebook, I haven't really pushed the groups because I do concentrate on YouTube first. But I realize, you know, now as I'm getting more and more people that I recognize on YouTube and stuff, it would be fun to hang out with people of like minds a little bit more on Facebook. So I thought, you know, if you're not from the New Brunswick Maritime area that we're having a private group, or that I want to have a private group with, then I thought this might be the alternative, is to have everybody, if you wanted to join crafting with eyes wide open. Then I will start doing sort of a chat. And you know, I would love your ideas on that. If you would like to hang out and chat and just kind of craft with me there, that might be a fun thing, and it might be a way for me to get that stuff off my desk. So it's still kind of, you know, in the works. Again, I would love your feedback on it. I was hoping to do it on Sunday afternoons from 2 to 4. But you know, there will be times where I won't be available to do it. But for the most part, I'd like to do it on Sundays from 2 to 4. So if you are interested in something like that, then by all means, contact me and let me know, or let me know in here, and I will expand on it further. And it's not to say that, I mean, if you're in the one group and you really want to be in the New Brunswick group, you can, but it will be more focused on in-person and local. But you know, I will certainly let you in if you want to come and join that group. You are always going to be more than welcome. You know, I don't want to put rules that certain people can't join or can join, or I'm just saying this is what the focus is on that group, is in person and local areas. But by all means, if you want to join my maritime group, you know, maybe you're going to move here someday. You want to get the jump start. So either way, either of the two groups, Crafting with Eyes Wide Open is already there, so you can join at any time. This one's a new one. Either way, contact me through Facebook or YouTube and let me know you're interested, and I will invite you to one or the other or both. So that's that. Okay, wait, I gotta write. Okay, camel thing was done. The black file folder was done. Open chat done. Okay, that's coming. New Facebook group, that's coming, done. My messy desk is done. Okay, the next thing. I want to do the huge box lots, and as I said, they are going to be massive. I will do a separate video just on those boxes. I'm hoping to launch those on January 23rd. So the video will come up either the day before or the day of January 23rd. I am only making 20 boxes. Now, I thought I was going to make 23, but I realized, no, I'm cutting off at 20. And so three of the boxes will be pulled and put aside for my giveaways. So there will be 17 boxes for sale, and that's it. Because it is a huge, it's going to take me from now till then to get these boxes done. And I say from now to then, I'm sure I'll be scrambling in the last few days. It's a lot of time, because there is going to be at least 25 yards of lace, 25 yards of ribbon, 25 yards of trims and stuff in there. There's going to be fabric, paper, although I won't focus too much on paper, because paper you can get pretty locally. But I have so many things to add to these boxes. Did I say fabric? If I didn't, fabric, fibers. There will be trinkets, jewelry. I have a lot of stuff. So these boxes are going to be massive and full, and I will only offer 17 of them for sale. Some of them will only be offered through my subscriber on Ko-fi, so that I can know that anybody who's subscribing will have the chance to get one of those boxes. You know, if they don't take me up on it right away, then the offer will shift over. Some of them will be offered on my website, and some of them will be offered on Ko-fi public, so that anybody in the public can go for them. But again, I'm only making 20, and 17 will be for sale. So that brings me to the next thing, is that the 3 that I'm holding back are going to be for the giveaway draw from my 2,000 subscribers. I'm already past 1,800, so I don't imagine it's going to take much longer than the end of January, the beginning of February to get that done. So I will run the whole campaign, will be starting on January 23rd for you to enter for the draw and the chance to win one of these boxes. And they will be huge, way bigger than the boxes that I normally do. And yeah, I'll wait till we get closer to, and I will do a big reveal, and you can see them then. So yeah, that's coming up. Just letting you know about that. And the last thing I want to talk about was, I had talked about my paper holder box. And I'll just show you one first. Sorry, I have to grab it. I've made 2 and I'm going to be making a 3rd. Now, can you see that? Okay, so let's just show you the side view. You can see all the different papers in here. So I'm just going to take, I have them separated with different cardboards right now until I actually come up with a system. So if in this first tab, I just have some colored paper that's folded in half. It's an 8.5 by 11 paper, folded in half, and ready to insert into a signature. The next one I have here is, the next tab is it's music pages folded in half, and then some of these are music pages folded the other way. So they are, in this case, they're natural on one side, and then they have music on the other. I hope you can see all that. So then the next one I did so far was I had some certificate paper, and I just folded that in half as well. And again, it's 8.5 by 11, so it's ready for doing signatures. They can be trimmed down as I need to trim them down, but they're already here in different styles of paper. Then I have another divider, and then I have graph paper. And the graph paper, in this case, was a little bit longer. I hope you can see that. So I just folded the flap over, knowing that I'm either going to tear it off or glue down the sides and make it into a tuck spot, or flip it the other way. But at least the paper is here. The next one I have is coffee dyed paper, and I just have different sheets that I folded in half. I have some pink still here, one or two pink ones. And when I put this together, it took me nothing. I was telling you to take, when you get something new in, just take 10 sheets and right away fold it. This next one here is just, I had a crossword book that I had folded the pages in half. And then I had another book, I think it was a book of quips and really crappy jokes. But it was interesting paper, and it's very yellowed and aged, and I figured it would be a background paper in a journal. And now, and I haven't gotten very far with this. It's still on my desk to do, and I'm still working on it. This is that, I'm calling this ready-made, my ready-made swatch paper. I do have to finish this one, but I haven't gotten to that tab so much yet. And there was the back side. This one you saw. And then this was a pink one that I had done off camera. I had started on camera, and then I actually finished it. And doesn't that look lovely? So there'll be some ink stamping around the edges and maybe some lace trimming and stuff. But these are just going into here as kind of a finished swatch page. And believe me, I have enough to do a few just on what's on my desk. So again, a piece of paper that I had just stitched a ribbon on. So this is ready to go in a journal. And that was just another section, sort of pre-made papers. This next one is those school pages that I took out of that little children's notebook, and all I did was I tore off the blank part of it and just tucked those in. This next one is some maps. These were folded in half, just plain. And then I have some different ledger papers. These are just ledger papers that were close by on my desk or near my desk. And so I just folded them up to get them in here. And in this case, I've got different kinds of ledger paper. And so when I get a new one, I will add 10 sheets of that in there as well. So I realized pretty quickly, like I've got other book pages and dictionary pages that are folded, some encyclopedia pages. And then I have, these were signatures that I had started to make a while back. I just haven't put them in books yet, but they're already ready to go into a book. So this is ready to go in a traveler's notebook, and it's just the same thing. It's just different pages and stuff to start working with. So some of them are pre-done. So I'm going to switch this all over to a box of pre-done ones, because this one has a map page on it that has 2 pockets and a little, I just tucked the scrap paper in here to maybe make a tag with it. So that's a ready-made page. But these are all signatures that are ready to go into a book. Good gosh, if I could ever get a journal made. And then at the back I had more. These were done with colored papers. I kind of had an idea of what I wanted to do with them, and so I used some scrapbook paper, the heavier cardstock, and then the offcuts I just kept in with it because I can use that for embellishing and enhancing the journal. So that's the first box. And this is the second box, and this one is mostly signatures that are ready-made to go. So again, they're completely put together. All I have to do is make the cover, and then I can start decorating them. Isn't that pathetic? I'm so ready. But yeah, so they're just different papers, and I can quickly put these together without too much effort. And now they all have a home. But I realized in doing this, sorry, this was stuck in there. I realized in doing this, now I have another one that's ready to go here that even has the cover with it, the envelope cover. And extra embellishments to go with what I was planning on this book. This is almost a full journal. And more. There's some here that are just the envelopes and some basic signature sets. So in doing this, I realized I haven't even scratched the surface for the different types of paper. So I'm making a third box. And while I won't put it together on camera here in front of you, I'm just going to give you all the information for it. So you may want to pause the video at this next part, and do a screenshot. I can also write the measurements in my description below for you to have a look at. But the box measurements, I made two pieces that are 6 inches by 5.5 inches. So if you're doing metric, then you'll have to just do the conversion and do it as close as possible. The reason I did 5.5, that is the height of the box. That's how tall the box is, because I want to be able to see what's coming out of the box a little bit. I want to be able to flip through the different file sections and see my pages. The 6 inches wide, the reason I did that is because most signatures, if you're doing a general type of journal, you know, you're using 8.5 by 11 paper, folded in half, that ends up to be 8.5 by 5.5. Even though you may trim the pages down after, you want them to fit in the book. And if you do some pre-made signatures where you have all the pages together, like I did in the second box and in half of the first box, you may find that the more papers you put in, the wider it gets. So I said 6 inches was wide enough to accommodate that. And it also reminds me that I'm working with the 5.5 inch size width of journal. So that's the reason for the width and the height. And then you need one piece that is the same 6 inches by 11 inches. That becomes the bottom. And you have to be careful to make sure that you keep the bottom separate from the sides, because the sides are 11 inches by 5.5 inches to come up. So you want to make sure that the bottom is not one that you put on the side, so that when you're putting this together, you're putting it so that the two 5.5 inch pieces are coming up. And so your 6 inch by 5.5 piece here will fit front and back. Does that make sense? Now, the other thing I did is I used packing tape, just clear packing tape to put the boxes together. So it was a matter of taping on one side, taping on the other side, putting the front and back on, and then folding it all up together and taping on the outside. And why I did that was I was testing this, and I figured I don't need to glue it at this point. I just want to test and see how it works. And if it works, then I will pursue decorating the boxes on the outside. So in decorating the boxes on the outside, I'm making sure that the paper I'm using, the ugliness is on the outside. So if it's this brown on the inside, it's going to be filled with goodness and signatures anyway, and signature papers. So I figured then I don't have to decorate it on the inside. It'll just have the clear packing tape showing where it was all connected. But on the outside, it's very easy for me to collage over top and maybe possibly over the side as well. But it just makes it easier now that the boxes are made and in use, that I can cover them how I like. So that was my measurements. Now I've circled on here 11 inches length. So that's how long the boxes are. And that's because the shelf I was putting them on is 12 inches in length. And I knew that it would accommodate it, but you could make these shorter. You don't have to make them 11 inches long. You could make them 6 by 6. So you can make them shorter, however it works for you. That's why I said length. So if you look at the length you want them to be, just adjust this amount accordingly. So if you want it to be 9 inches, maybe your shelf is only 8 or 9 inches wide, you can make it 8 or 9 inches in length. So that's the number that you would change to accommodate yours. But this is the sizes that I used for that idea, that you're folding an 8.5 by 11 in half to get a 5.5 inch wide. Blah. Okay, now my plans are to make a smaller box. I haven't made one yet. And this will accommodate my pieces that are going to be for traveler's notebooks. And so I will make the boxes 5 inches tall and 5 inches wide, so that I'm not trying to stuff these larger papers into that box. So any papers that I get that are smaller, and they don't have to be a perfect fit, but any papers that are smaller, I can just fold in half. Like, for example, you might have a bunch of 6 by 6 papers you want to get rid of. So just fold them in half. They'll be 3 inches wide and 6 inches tall. So you'll still see them over the top of the box at 5 inches, and they will still fit within the 5 inches. They will still fit widthwise, and you know that they're smaller than the large ones. So you might have a page like this sitting on your desk. It doesn't fit perfect measurements either way, so put it in the smaller box. You can fold it this way, but you can also fold it this way, and use either way in a traveler's notebooks, or do some trimming or folding and gluing afterwards. But yeah, this is a perfect size to go inside a traveler's notebook as far as the width, but the height. We like to have our pages sometimes staggered, not all the same size. This is a great way to get these pieces off your desk, because you know how I am. So once this small box is made, a lot of this that's in this pile is getting folded so that I can get it off my desk. But this is great for smaller book pages, for smaller music sheets, and just leftover papers. Maybe you have some notepads, which is what this is. So that's my measurements and thinking and process for the smaller box. And again, I'm making it 11 inches long because of where I want to put the box. But in your case, this is the length, so you can adjust the length however you want. In this case, because it's 5 inches by 5 inches, then all 3 pieces, the bottom and the 2 sides, are also 5 inches tall, but the length is what changes. So does that make sense? So I'm going to hold this up one more time. If you want to do a screenshot of it, can you see it? Is that better? I'm holding it long enough. If not, I will write the descriptions, and I'll write it exactly like this in the description box below. So that's it for all the stuff I have to tell you today for my follow-up. I hope it was not too boring. I hope it wasn't too long. Let's see. Ooh, it's getting there. Okay, so that's it for today. I may show up either later today or tomorrow with another tutorial off my desk, and it's going to be using all of these artist trading cards, as well as using alternatives to this for the next fun project that we're going to make. So thank you so much for watching, and for subscribing to the channel, and for all your lovely comments. And again, leave me comments on the information that matters to you, and let me know how you feel about certain things. And and remember, what goes around comes around. And yeah, wallpaper, wrapping paper and tissue paper, and the fact that you guys make comments about my desk. be careful. You just never know what's going to show up in your mailbox. Love you all to pieces, and have yourself a very creative day, a creative weekend, and I look forward to seeing all of you very soon. Bye for now.